Hello and welcome to my historical recipes. For today I have chosen a recipe from the collection of the Teutonic Order from the 15th century. The Teutonic Knights was a religious order that had great power during the late Middle Ages in the region of northeastern Europe and Central Europe. Now, this recipe is a fish pie. Pies in general were very popular throughout the Middle Ages in basically the whole of Europe, especially Central and Northern Europe. And they could be made with about anything, often also meat, poultry, also cheese and vegetables, or like this one, fish. Maestro Martino da Como, an Italian cook also from the 15th centuries, writes that the best meat for pies is bear. I don't agree really, although I have never tried, but I never would like to, and I prefer the fish recipe that we are going to do today. So let's have a look at the ingredients. We need, obviously, fish fillets. This one is perch. The recipe doesn't specify which fish exactly, but perch is a good guess as it's a fish that is readily available and was readily available at the time in vast parts of Europe. Then we have parsley, sage, some saffron, pepper, a little bit of cinnamon. You know, at this time, at this period, they love their cinnamon in about every dish, and ginger. Now, this is ginger powder, which actually is a good choice because at the time ginger came from far away and would have been on offer in Europe only dried and probably also already powdered. Then we have 1 egg, some salt, about 150 grams, that's about 5 ounces of butter, and 250 grams of all-purpose flour, that's about 2 cups. And in case the dough needs a little bit more water, we have some cold water here. Now, what I'm going to do is first, I'm going to prepare the dough for the pie. I add a little bit of salt and a good amount of butter. This is a buttery pie. I keep some to grease the dish. Now I already start kneading. It has to become a quite crumbly dough. Add some water. Yep, that's it. Now I divide this dough into 2 halves, make 2 dough balls. And before I continue with the preparation, I first preheat the oven to 200 degrees Celsius, that's about 400 degrees Fahrenheit. On a flour dusted surface and with a rolling pin, I roll these 2 balls of dough into 2 thin round shapes. More or less round. That's very fine because the rims will be cut. Anyways, that's it, and I cut off all the overhanging dough that we can use to make little shapes for decoration afterwards. Now with the second ball of dough, I already prepared the lid and I set it aside and continue with preparing the fish filling. Okay, let's go for the fish filling. First of all, I cut these fish fillets into fine stripes. I put all the fish into a bowl, chop the parsley, that, and I add this to the fish. And I also chop some sage. Let's say a couple of leaves should do. Sage is quite strong. In I add some black pepper, never too little, as well as some saffron, as well as a tiny pinch of cinnamon. It, as usual in historical recipes, it doesn't talk of amounts, but with cinnamon I would be careful with fish. And some more ginger, there you can be a little more generous. At the choice of the spices, you can see that the Teutonic Knights were quite powerful and wealthy because these are expensive spices. And we would like to add some salt as well. And I had completely forgotten to mention that before. We moisten the whole thing with a little bit of wine. Mix it. And fill it into the pie crust. I lower the overlapping dough pieces and put the lid on top, cutting off all the extras. And with the remaining dough, we can now create nice little shapes. I would opt, obviously, for some fish. Here into the center of the pie, I cut a little cross so that steam can get out. And around I arrange some of my misshapen fish. No, let's do them like this. They swim all around, don't they? And you could also make a rim around with some of the dough. Okay. Adding a tiny drop of water to the egg yolk. I beat it and give the whole pie surface a nice egg yolk painting. And we stick the whole thing for 40 minutes into the oven. Voila!